crazy, dude. Whoa. That is nuts. What? I believe that we are all on our own paths for what we would call success. I used to think that success was simply having a lot of money in the bank, but as I've gotten older, I've understood that finding something you truly love and pursuing it with all of your energy is worth so much more. And I believe that when you find this thing, the universe will help guide you down the right path and present you with the right opportunities. Which brings me to today. Because today I have finally put together a brand new set and performance that I will be submitting to EDC for the chance to play at their EDC Las Vegas Virtual Rave-A-Thon. Now the video is currently exporting as we speak and as I record this video, and a ton of work has gone into this project because some of you may not know, but one of my #1 goals that I've had since I've gotten involved in music production has been to perform at EDC. So this is a pretty monumental moment for me. And this may not be their typical In the Raceway festival, but it's still a very cool opportunity, and it could be that stepping stone to get me closer and closer to the actual stage at those festivals. So this is just another step in my path, but I'm really excited for this opportunity and where it could take me. Now this whole project has been such a cool experience and fun experience for me, and I figured I would make a quick recap video for you guys at home to give you guys a behind the scenes look at sort of what goes on behind the scenes to put all these sets together for EDC, because there's a lot of effort and a lot of work that goes on into it. And then after, at the end of the video, we can all take a look at the final product after it's done exporting, because I have yet to see the final product, but all I know is that it's gonna be cool and it's really gonna be sick. So stick around to the end of the video to see that. But without further ado, let's jump into the beginning of this crazy adventure. It all started 48 hours ago when I found out that EDC was putting out an invitation to all creators and DJs to make a set and performance for their EDC Las Vegas Virtual Rave-A-Thon. They were calling this thing their Discovery Project, and they had initially put out the invitation at the end of April, but I was just now finding out about it on May 6th, and the submissions were actually due on May 8th, which is today. So I only had a very short time to put together a whole brand new set, practice that set, then set up the scene or set for the video that I was gonna record for it, actually record the video and the performance, and then put it into my computer and edit that whole performance and add all the visuals, all while trying to meet the midnight deadline later today. Now the requirements for the set were pretty simple. They had to be a 25 to 30 minute set that you created yourself. You had to have visual creativity, shoot in 29 frames a second, and I guess just be creative with everything you had to do. So that was all pretty straightforward. So the first thing I did was start to look for some new songs. I really wanted to add a new flair to this set. I wanted some new music, something that I hadn't played before, because I really wanted this thing to be special. I didn't want it to be generic or basic. I wanted it to be unique, and I wanted the sound to be reflective of that. I also wanted this to be very uplifting. When I had thought about my very first EDC set, I had always imagined playing something that was very happy and motivating and inspiring. So I started working on the set while also trying to stay within those parameters. It ended up taking me about 3 hours to finally find all of my new music and put it into my rekordbox software. And then it took me a couple more hours to actually organize that music in such a way that it sort of told a story and created emotion in the way that I was looking for it, and basically build the whole set. So it took me in total about maybe 6 hours to finally put together the entire set, and something was missing. I wasn't really sure what it was. I just couldn't wrap my head around it, but something was wrong with the set. All the way through, it sounded good, it ended cool, but the beginning was just sort of boring. It was like flat. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't phenomenal. And you know, this is EDC, so it needs to be phenomenal. So I was like, what am I gonna do to fix this? I mean, after all, this is one of the most important parts of the entire performance, because your first song sort of sets the tone for what the rest of the set is gonna be like. So with having a crappy first song, you sort of already just dig yourself a hole. So I needed to figure this out, and what I decided to do was, instead of trying to find a song, because I kept looking and looking for new music to put in and nothing worked, I decided to just make my own song. In fact, what I ended up doing was creating a brand new remix from scratch within an hour and a half to try to use as my first song, because I had this vision of what I wanted this first song to sound like and what I wanted to just be. But nothing in the world existed like that yet, so I decided I'll just make it myself. And that's what I did. And it turned out really, really cool, actually. I ended up remixing one of my favorite songs, which is called Destiny. It's by El Mero. It's a really, really cool song, but it was just sort of missing a few elements that I wanted. Now the drop is really, really cool. That's very, very powerful, but the buildup is kind of empty, a little too slow for what I was looking for, and the intro, it needed some extra work. So what I did was add some new beats myself to the intro, and then I added some vocals to the buildup to try to give it a little more substance, and to try to tell a story a little more with the song. So that's exactly what I did. Now for the vocals, I ended up using Alan Watts, and if you've ever heard one of his speeches, you know that it just sounds important. It sounds very just majestic and almost beautiful. So I decided to take one of his speeches about the idea that we are all a creator of our own worlds, and I put it into the song. I chopped it up, tried to tell my own story, my own version of it, and then created this brand new remix. So that's starting, and also I will be releasing that as an official remix in about a week after this video comes out, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, so there I was. I'm about 8 hours into this whole project, and I have a brand new remix. I've got my set put together, and I'm officially ready to start creating the scene for the video. So step number 2 was to start building the scene for the video. And usually when I record my videos and my live performances, I just have my DJ equipment with my speakers and a metal print usually hung up behind me. Right now I have a tapestry because this actually just came in today, but a couple days ago I did not have this, but usually it's just a metal print and the blank white wall. Now, I like my artwork because I took the metal print myself. I do photography, but this whole idea needed to be bigger. I needed a more monumental performance for this one, rather than just, you know, the cool metal print with the basic white wall behind it. I wanted something more special. So what I decided to do instead was use a green screen. So I set up this green screen, I did a quick practice run, tried to make sure everything was working. It looked all right, and I was like, you know what, let's just do it. I believe that everything will turn out exactly how it's supposed to. So now I was actually finally ready to record the entire set. So I set up my camera, I set up my lights, I put on my Xeon suit, and I recorded the entire performance. And it went really well. I actually really liked it. My energy felt great. The energy of the music was even better. You know, everything just went really well. The transitions were great. The mix sounded great. I was stoked on it. And so I figured, you know, don't even give it a second shot, because it felt like that first one was the correct one. So I just turned off the cameras, got the SD card, popped it in the computer, made sure it was all there. It was, I checked it, I was excited, and then I decided it was time for some sleep, because at this point I had already been working for about 16 or 17 hours on this whole project, so it was taking up a lot of my time and I was ready for some sleep. I figured I'd edit it in the next morning.
So day 2 was mostly just video editing and putting together my graphics. I started compiling and collecting the visuals that I wanted to add to my music and editing them into the performance. Now, something funny did happen, and that is that the green screen actually matched the color of my Xeon vest that I wear, so the green on my vest in the video is not actually green, but rather it is sort of dancing along with the visuals in the background. Now, this whole thing took a very, very long time, especially because I have some other work that I also had to take care of. But after about 9 hours of working at this, and that's not even including the exporting time right now, it's finally done. And I just checked the exporting time. It only has about a minute left, so it seems like we are gonna be able to watch this right about now. Hey, that's crazy, dude. Whoa. That is nuts. What?
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream, and that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time, or any length of time you wanted to have. Then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality, not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that, only you're pretending you're not.